Hey Marvel fans, this is Ryan Panagos, aka Agent M. We're here at Marvel headquarters with Chris Gethard, star of Big Lake.
Hi everyone, how are you?
First, for the Marvel fans, tell us some of your favorite characters.
My favorite characters would include the Multiple Man, Spider-Man, all of the X-Men, Captain America. Those are the ones that I really latched onto growing up as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Particularly Peter David's first run with X Factor because it was weird and funny, and my interests as a comic book fan and a comedy nerd kind of crossed over there. I like a lot of those old funny Marvel books. So many of us will remember that the Multiple Man died. The X Factor number 100 suffered from the legacy virus. We all remember those sad days. I was a 13-year-old man when that happened, and I was torn up. And after I read issue number 100, I wrote a letter about my feelings, and it was published 5 months later in X Factor number 105. Dear Exchanges, in the past 7 months, there have been a whole lot of great X comics. Some of them have made me think, and yes, I'll be the first to admit it, some of them have made me cry. Most of these have been affiliated with the legacy virus. 2 such issues that made me emotional were Ilyana's death in Uncanny X-Men. I remember that. That was sad.
It was.
Infectia's death in X-Men. I don't even remember who Infectia is. I have no idea who Infectia is at this point in my life. None have made me so sad as X Factor number 100. I have loved X Factor for the 8 years that I've collected comics. I really loved it when the new team came on, especially because it included my favorite character, Jamie Madrox, the Multiple Man. I first saw Jamie in the reprints of the Proteus storyline from Uncanny X-Men. I thought that his power was unique, and his old green and yellow costume was one of my favorites. I used to think really hard about things like that, which costumes were my favorite. Needless to say, when my eyes graced the cover to number 100 as I walked past the comic book shelves, I grabbed it. I knew that Jamie had the virus, and I will read this part as I wrote it, as you can see in all caps. But he's dead? No! 3 exclamation points, capital letters.
Legit.
As soon as I got home, I read the issue. I saw the effect on his dupes, giving them a multiple personality disorder, but I thought that was the extent of the effects of the virus on him. I thought that somehow his powers would help him come through this, but now my favorite character is dead. And now we go to the last paragraph, which for my money, this is when it gets really weird. This is when this letter reveals that I was a young man headed toward a struggle with depression a few years later. You may think that I'm going to start campaigning to bring Jamie back, but I feel that he should stay dead. That's a weird thing for a 13-year-old to say. Jamie showed me a lot in his short stint in the comic book limelight. Even though he had so much pain growing up in solitude, Jamie was always joking and smiling. That's weird that I do comedy now. Even though he had so much pain growing up in solitude, he was always joking and smiling. Weird. That's a weird thing to reveal. All those one-liners that kept me sane. Jamie was almost a friend to me. Notice I said almost. Not like a friend, which is what you should say about a fictional character. Almost. As if I had no friends, and therefore he crossed a line where he was what I found closest to a friend. I will miss him. Goodbye, Jamie. This letter is dedicated to the memory of Jamie Madrox. Christopher Paul Gethard. I've never, ever used my serial killer name for anything. Christopher Paul, I'm Chris. I've never gone by Christopher, let alone Christopher Paul. I sound like I'm about to shoot John Lennon when I sign it that. And then I put my full address, as you can see.
Yeah.
And the worst part is that I wrote that letter, and I was in 8th grade, but it was published 5 months later. So it was published actually the week I entered high school, where my brother was a senior and was handing out copies to people. It was this little prepubescent freshman.
You know what's sad about looking at that?
Everything?
They didn't even give you a response. They weren't like, I'm sorry,
That's
Chris.
amazing. If you notice that, every other letter on the letters page has a response. Every single letter gets the bold response from the editor. Mine, nothing. Even the editors felt awkward. Even the people who read this were like, we'll print it, but we don't want to get involved.
You've got a lot going on right now, right?
Yes, I'm in a show called Big Lake on Comedy Central. It's really fun. It's with Horatio Sands and Chris Parnell, so just hoping that goes well. I hope everybody checks it out.
So, guys, check out Big Lake. Go find a copy of X Factor 105 to experience the magic for yourself.
Anyone ever approaches me holding a copy of X Factor number 105, I will sign it on the spot. I won't even be embarrassed. I will be embarrassed.
No. you should come to New York Comic Con,
Oh.
and we'll make sure our fans know.
I would love that.
Awesome. Cool.
I'll be there.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Take it easy, guys.
Hi, I'm Chris Gethard from Big Lake on Comedy Central. This is Marvel, Your Universe.
Marvel, your universe.